Should we give another minute or should we get started?
Bharti, you think most of them have joined?
Yes, most of them have joined. If anyone wants to join in between, I'll just inform Shweta.
Yeah.
We can get started for now.
Okay. So thank you very much, the students of Redbridge and beyond. And thank you very much, Gayatri ma'am, Sri Lalitha ma'am, and Ms. Rachel, for your time today. Of course, we had some glitches, but that's a learning part for this new club, this new Interact Club. And I would like to first appreciate the initiative of the members of this Interact Club at Redbridge, that in a very short time, they have come up with some beautiful programs, and we all stand by them to make it successful. And thank you, ma'am, Gayatri ma'am, for your time. And you're going to speak on something very, you are so much passionate about, how to make this world, our food value chain, our lifestyle chemical free. I think this is very relevant, very contemporary topic, which will, which will over the years improve our quality of life. There can be no other topic important than this, which is impacting our society in such a big manner. I mean, if you see the impact of chemicals, pesticides, etc., in our food, which is causing so much high level of high incidence of cancer, etc. I think this initiative is certainly going to be remaining with the students for years to come and will make a big impact on our society, one step at a time. So thank you very much. Without taking much time, I hand over to you all, Gitanjali, Shweta. Thank you very much for organizing this program along with the students. Hats off to you all. Have a good start. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I request Gautami to take charge and make all the proceedings. Yeah.
Hi everyone, good morning. I'm Gautami, social media manager from Reseda Life Sciences. So basically, Reseda's vision is to make human life safer by creating products with negative carbon footprint. So let us now invite Dr. Gayatri Hela, the Managing Director of Reseda Life Sciences, to deliver her talk.
Thanks, Subir, and thanks, Gautami. And good morning, everyone. I know we had a few challenges before we started the webinar, but anyway, it's all a learning curve for us. So before even I start, let me thank Rotary International and the Interact Club of Redbridge for this initiative, and also giving Reseda an opportunity to be a part of it. So why does Reseda wants to be part of it? Like Subir already said, we at Reseda are a team who always believe that we need to respect the world we live in and also the body in which we live in. Both are equally important. So I just want to ask all of you, does this make any sense? Does this statement make any sense to all of us? So let us look at our present situation. We always call it unprecedented times unknown before. Can we say that? Is it so? Are these really unprecedented times? Did we never have such situations before? Personally, for me, they're all anticipated. Though not so soon, though not so hard, but definitely they were all anticipated because we have seen lots of such situations before. I feel we are just living in a lie saying they are all unprecedented. We are trying to convince ourselves that, okay, this is not expected, but it happened. So before even I go forward, let me give clarity on the statements I made. And also, pardon me if my discussions throw only the negativity today, because I think it's high time we discuss them. And we also take a course of action, just not stopping with a discussion. I think that's what we have been all doing all the while. Run a webinar, do a discussion, and then stop there. I think it's high time we take some action on what we are discussing. So that is one reason we rolled out this present program as well. So let's try and contribute at least a small drop in the massive ocean of the issues we are all facing right now. So if I go back a little in the, back to the years in 2003, I lived in a situation where SARS, where there was SARS, similar to the situation what we have right now, or I would say worse than that. And But we went through all the ordeals of sanitizing hands, wearing masks, maintaining social distance, stressing on minor headaches, cold or cough. All the situations we are seeing right now, just 17 years back, I would say. But fortunately for many of us, probably most of you were not even born. Some of you might not even know that, but it happened. It happened, and we all had those similar issues what we are facing right now. But fortunately for many of us, it was only an epidemic. It was only few countries only got affected by it. And India was a lucky one. We in India at least have not seen its effect. Further, it was also for very short time. I think it stayed for 4 to 6 months, not more than that. And I think as humans, we always comfortably forget the challenges we go through, hoping we will never have to face similar situation in future. So we all forgot about it. We never understood why it happened. We never understood what actions needs to be taken. So we all actually, it was a warning. I would say it's already a warning that has come from the nature to us, saying, guys, you're going to go through many more of this, maybe worse than this. No, be aware. But I think we never bothered about it, and just we went on with our lives like any other time. It's just not SARS, because I related it to pandemic, which is similar. We also have lots of these diseases from mosquitoes. Mosquitoes have become so rampant and strong. They are superbugs now. There are no superhumans. There are only superbugs now. And these mosquitoes have created chikungunya, we have seen dengue. All these have taken a backseat because of the pandemic, but they're still there in the world. There are many countries which are still facing these problems. And other than that, we also have lots of these life-threatening diseases like cancers, heart attacks, and if you see lifelong diseases like diabetes, hypertension. Earlier, all these diseases or threats were more for elderly or for those people who have unhealthy lifestyle. But unfortunately, if you see for the past few years, the age factor for these diseases has come down so low. We have seen lots of youngsters dying because of these diseases, are getting affected by these diseases. Our health factor has become almost like zero. And other than that, we have lots of these tsunamis, wildfires, global warming, lot of threats to the environment. So we are actually now living in world of threats, whether it is disease or it is a natural disaster, or it's our own life, which is it's not very unhealthy life we are leading. We do not know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's like we are amongst major issues right now. But I don't think we have seriously thought about the reasons or the consequences till the pandemic really hit us badly. 2 years. And you guys, I want to understand, did we learn anything from this 2 years of life we led through, a very different life we led through, a very, I would say, a different normal life we led through? Did we learn anything from that? And we all know what we went through, right? Life totally came to a standstill for long time. I would say 2 years is a very long time. And it came to a standstill suddenly. It's like overnight, we were all told there is a lockdown. We don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. We didn't even understand what is happening around us, right? And many of us lost either our close family members or friends or acquaintances. Everyone's tomorrow went into a total uncertainty. Am I making sense? All of us are now living in very uncertain times, right? We don't even know how. I've been hearing from many of the youngsters saying, we don't even know if we'll get proper jobs, even if we do very good, because we don't know how the situation is going. So there is so much of uncertainty, stress amongst every one of us. And we don't know, or we did not know what is the next minute, what's going to happen next minute. And actually it's being played by a very small organism which we cannot even see. We can't even visualize where it is, how it is. We don't even know how it is, and we do not know when it attacks us or who it attacks. We don't have any idea on that. At least a mosquito you can see and you can run away from it, but you can't run away from the virus right now, which is playing all its I would say it's the which is around us all the time. So just to give one small example, I can say, like, I think all of us would, most of us would resonate through it. I remember losing a neighbor during the pandemic time, but we could not go and visit and offer condolences personally. Forget me, even her son and his family could not go and visit them because they were all affected by COVID. And the cremation happened, the mother's cremation happened without the children around. So every individual, I would say, on earth is affected by this pandemic, either personally or professionally or financially, psychologically, emotionally, academically. So I think we're all affected in every way of our life. So, but I don't want to go into the details how we are affected and what is the reason behind it, because we want to hear it from you guys in the next 1 hour. But one question I would like to pose here, that this is a question for everyone, including me. Did we learn our lesson, and are we ready to act in any small or big way we can to address this? Is each one of us going to take it as a personal responsibility of respecting ourselves as an individual, our home, our family, our surroundings, our community, and our globe? Are we going to take the responsibility? I think this is a question each one of us have to pose to ourselves and then act on it. Just not question, discuss, and leave it there. Act on it. So I think I have been only talking about negativity all the time, right, till now. Let's go a little towards the positivity, what has happened. So we have seen clean beaches. We have seen decline in air pollution. We have seen lesser noise levels. I think all Bangaloreans will resonate with this, right? At least we could go out and say, oh, I'm breathing some fresh air. I don't see pollen or I don't see dust around me. And also, like, noise. We hardly saw any, vehicles going on the road. So we hardly had any noise around us. And I remember seeing many jokes where animals and birds were celebrating that human has disappeared and became extinct, and it is their world now. They're so happy about it. So that tells how much we have disturbed the ecosystem, trying to grow over the system instead of being part of the system. So, and we also know, as restaurants closed, no Zomato, no Swiggy, no buying food or eating outside. So we are forced to eat our local food made at home, right? Rather boring, healthy food, I agree. But still, don't you all see how much better our health is now compared to before? Now we all want to go and have some physical exercise and sit in the sun early in the morning to get a lot of vitamin D. So this is all we are trying to improve our immunity, because we want to fight the virus. But we all became conscious of our food we eat. We all became conscious of a lifestyle we are leading. So it's a good change if it is, but if it should be sustainable. Even after this pandemic passes away, it needs to stay. Unfortunately, before pandemic, we never respected our body immune system. And now we realized how very important it is to live safely. So another aspect I clearly observed during pandemic is, over years, what we have seen is the families are moved into a very nuclear system, and the human connect slowly started disappearing. The concept of giving to the community has lessened, and taking from the community has become more and more dominant. But I feel, thanks to the pandemic, we realized now how important it is to be close to fellow humans. We are all social humans, right? So we need our community around. And we also realized we can live safe and happy only in a community, not in an isolated system. We need each other for us. I still remember in my childhood, we lived in a small town where our next door neighbor would be an akka, and the next street aunt and uncle will be mama and atta. So that's how we were very closely knitted, even if you're not connected by blood. We always shared the food. When somebody makes some nice savories, they used to share with everyone around them. We used to attend all functions in each other's house. I saw the same, and we lost that environment for a long time. Once I moved out of the town, I really missed that environment. But during pandemic, actually, I have seen that environment in our apartment. Each one of us, even though we are not seeing each other in person, we lived together like a family. We shared food, we gave support, we took care of our supporting staff, our mates who lost jobs. We were always there to, we had a group where we used to discuss if somebody is feeling low, we used to, talk to them. We used to make them feel good. So that community system has come back into our apartment at least, and hope it stays forever. So it was giving away to the community that is becoming more and more important again because of the pandemic. And I think we all took our strength from these interactions during these testing times. And I definitely say the kids who are participating in this webinar are all very sensitive and contributing. Otherwise, you would not have been here today. But you are the future. And when I say we, me and the so-called elders here, we are all belong to one generation. We have to take a serious responsibility of supporting you to understand where we are now and give you the direction, sources, and strength to improve your situations for your future and next generations. So we want to work with you very closely as a team to identify where we are right now, and if needed, educate those who do not understand, and motivate and support our communities to take actions. I think that is very important. And I would say definitely to grow into forces which will create the change that is needed. So if I come back to the program, what we are trying to do through Reseda. So as previously said, we are focused on reducing the negative impacts that we have created by the irrational use of chemicals. So we have lots of synthetic chemicals around us. We are really filled with dangerous chemicals around us. Every inch we traverse is filled with some dangerous chemical or the other. And the major impact of using these chemicals is that the pest, like your mosquito or your cockroaches, and the microbes, including your virus, it has actually tried developing resistance to protect itself, or they are trying to resist the harsh chemicals we are putting on them. So they are becoming superbugs. But unfortunately, while exposing to these chemicals, and also added to that with our disturbed lifestyle and our food habits, we have reduced our immunity to fight these diseases. I think there is a huge imbalance in the ecosystem right now between the human and the environment. So if we see the global statistics, only 5% of the global population can say confidently that they're healthy. So I think we need to increase the number, and I would love to see it at 100% healthy humans. So, and that is the vision of the program with which we started this program. And so we welcome each and every one of you who believe in this vision to be a part of it. We are not just going to discuss, we are just not going to talk about it. We are going to have action in this. We are going to implement it. Even if it's a small, minuscule part of the huge problem, we are still going to start somewhere, and we are going to contribute something to the issue to improve the situation. So, and I would love to see all of you to be a part of this. So thanks once again for considering us to be part of the program. So thank you one and all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So let us now welcome Ms. Lalitha Pamidipati, the CEO of Reseda Life Sciences, to share her insights about the topic.
Thanks a lot, Gautami. And a very good morning to you all. That was a very, very grave note on which the meeting has started, which is a fact, which is a reality, and which is something which we have to address right now to not to see the same situation in the future. It was a largely disruptive thing for our economic activity as well as the human life. So if I have to put some specifics and numbers coming to the Indian perspective, closer home, what was it for us? For a country that has a population of more than 1.34 billions, we are the second largest populated country in the world. Do we have the same square area to live? Considering the residential, the agricultural, the real estate, everything put together, we have 117 square feet per person to live. And this ratio also comes down when it goes towards the urban areas. And even within the same urban area, the rural areas, and even within the same urban area, if you see the difference between haves and have-nots, it increases much more, the distance decreases. The reason why we all had such a challenging time in Mumbai, in the Dharavi slums. Alone in Mumbai, if you look at the per capita residential area, it is just 8.3 square meters. If you remember, we all had to, and even now we have to maintain a distance of 6 feet between each other to comply to the COVID norms. Imagine in a slum like Dharavi, if one person gets a COVID, how many people get impacted? That was a dark reality, which we brought upon ourselves. Moving on to the other impacts, what we had, the loss of life. Initially, if you remember, all of us remember the migrations that have happened among the unorganized sector, the laborers who have moved away from their home to do jobs in cities. They had nowhere to go because they were living in the platforms or the makeshift tents that were given wherever they were working. So where did they go? They had to move back. We have seen the dark situations they had to go through, people dying on the way, and nobody could help. You and I couldn't help. The government couldn't help. So where did that situation even come from? It's something which we have created, both the urban and rural areas. If you have to put a number to the unorganized sector we have in India, 50.5% of our produce that we make in India comes from the unorganized sector. So you can't even identify how many people are working on the roads, on the streets, and they don't have an income bracket. They don't have any organized card with the government. Nobody knows how many of them are working. So these were the sector which got really impacted. They had loss of life. They have loss of livelihood. There is loss of family because there were so many people depending on them back home on their earnings. When they couldn't reach, they couldn't send money. Those people were in debt. They were not living. I mean, so many of them lost lives. And the saddest thing is we don't even know the number, how many people have died in the process. This is the stark reality. Other than that, we all know that India is a labor-intensive country. All of our sectors are mostly labor-intensive sectors. I think except IT and apparel, all other industries got impacted, like the gems and jewelry, handicrafts, handlooms, carpet industry. Most of them got impacted, and there were so many job losses. They are still getting back to normalcy, what we can call that normalcy right now. And added to this, there was a loss of life, I have already mentioned, due to the initial migrations. And we had 2 waves of pandemic spreading over the country. The first wave, we were just groping around even to understand what the situation is, what the disease is, how do we even cope up with it. The second wave was disastrous. We knew the virus, we had the medicines, but we couldn't reach out to the people. The deaths rose at an alarming rate. So these 2 situations, due to the economic hit and due to the health hit, due to the 2 waves, there was a huge loss of life. I don't even want to put a number, even though the statistics are all out there. Then, as a country, we are dependent on many countries for our import, whether it is components or whether it is medicine, whether it is food. Only from China, we are dependent 18% for our imports, out of which the major 2 parts are pharma and electronics. So even to communicate with people, you have to get your parts for the electronics from China, which we had a huge hit. And then even for a medicine like a paracetamol, a fever medicine, we were getting the components from China. We in the urban cities, we didn't see so much of impact, even though we had. Imagine the situation in villages or those remote areas where even the generic medicine is very costly. So the scarcity and pharma, in pharma and electronics really hit the country. All this has contributed to a global depression in global growth. This is the depression in global growth has been there for all the countries. It's not just for India. But nevertheless, we went down the recessionary threshold of the world economy by 2.5%, which is really not something which we can recover immediately. I would want to say, reiterate what Dr. Hela said. Is it all because of the bug that has come out of nowhere, which we don't even know the source of? No, it is because of the way we started living. We started to take things granted, and the type of economy, the type of social structure we built for ourselves. There are so many lessons this little creature has brought into our lives. The immediate effect of that thing, if you can see, yes, we had a temporary improvement in the environmental cleanliness, a temporary reduction in noise pollution. If you look again, now the noise pollution has increased. The number of vehicles, the air traffic, everything has gone back to the normal situation. So there was a temporary environmental cleanliness, a temporary reduction in noise pollution. I would definitely say there is more awareness of alternative medicines. We started looking at Ayurveda, homeopathy to have a better lifestyle and to eat better, to procure better, procure locally, support the local market, improved civic awareness. Now at least we are segregating the biological waste from the green waste or the plastic. I would say that there is a marginal improvement in all these things. But as a race, which always goes back to its old ways, are we going to sustain that? Are you going to sustain that as young people? That is a challenge which we have in front of us. That's a question we have to ask ourselves. On that note, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was wonderful. Let us now welcome Ms. Rachel George, the International Business Head of Reseda Life Sciences, to share her talk.
Morning, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Rachel George, and I am the International Business Head of Reseda Group. And my kind of goal in this segment is to highlight that it's not just India, but the whole globe, including my country, England, that's been affected by this. So we're going to discuss some of the positives as well as addressing some of the negatives. So first things first, there was a positive, a greater awareness of the importance of hygiene and green products in general. So, I mean, how frequently do you wash your hands compared to before the pandemic? And I mean, did you even hand sanitize before? Because I know many of us didn't use hand sanitizer. This is a very new thing. Other aspects that are positive from the pandemic is that we are investing in healthier food habits and lifestyle, not just because we know that if you get COVID and you live a healthier lifestyle, that you have a higher chance of kind of recovery, etc. It's also really important in general, just to, you know, keep a healthy body, put healthy things in you, and you will stay healthier. Also, community awareness has vastly improved as a result of coronavirus. Neighbours are helping neighbours. We're taking extra care of the elderly. And I feel that feeling of, you know, united community has stayed and will continue to stay. We've also kind of got a kind of link to my previous point. We're kind of really conscious of the importance of socializing now. We've got a better community system because we know what it's like to not be able to see people. So now that we can, it's great, and we want to keep a hold of that. And previously mentioned by Lalitha, the car and travel pollution, that has reduced, although unfortunately, like previously mentioned, it is creeping back up again. Although predominantly in England, people are tending to stay working from home. It's more of a permanent fixture. So that is still a positive. It isn't going up as, you know, as high as it was previously. But we've also got the unfortunate negatives as well. We do have the loss of life, and this has affected everybody. Perhaps not directly, but we all know somebody or know of somebody who knows somebody who has contracted coronavirus and, you know, hasn't recovered from it. And as a result, we can't even grieve them normally. We can't go to their funerals. We can't grieve with the family. And so it's not just the loss, it's the unable to deal with the loss as well. Also, the economic gap has hugely widened. Small businesses have crashed, people have been furloughed, redundancy, and also, believe it or not, despite coronavirus, the world's 5 richest people has seen their collective wealth increase by over $250 billion as a result of coronavirus. So this is huge, and it's really segregating the you know, economic types of people, which is not good at all. It's the opposite of uniting. Also, our social skills have been affected while staying at home. You know, we're used to either going into work and seeing people, we're used to going to school, our various clubs and activities, and that just hasn't been possible. And not just, you know, missing your friends, etc. It's had a huge impact on our social skills. I mean, have you felt nervous going back into people for the first time, or perhaps going to your local supermarket, meeting up with people again? It's quite scary, and it's, you know, it's this feeling of unknown. It's great to see everybody, but there's also the whole COVID lurking in the background. And, you know, linked to my other point, there's been a huge loss of jobs. Many people have lost their jobs, their life savings, just to trying to keep their family going. So it's been a really tough time. I know that in my country, England, this has been a huge problem. Not only has there been a huge loss of jobs, there's also not enough jobs to keep going. So a lot of people have turned to benefits and stuff like that. And relating to my social skills point, there's just been a real lack of kind of human touch. For example, I live in the city of Bristol. It's in the southwest of England, and it's normally pre-COVID a thriving city. It's quite mayhem. But I would go for walks during coronavirus in the center of the city, and I wouldn't meet a single bus, car, person. And it was really eerie. It felt almost like a zombie apocalypse or something like that, because you just weren't seeing anybody. And once the kind of excitement and the thrill of that has gone, it's not a nice feeling. I mean, children were staying in from school. You can't see or hug family members. And for example, I started working from home along with the rest of the United Kingdom in March 2020. And I've not seen a lot of people since. I've not gone back to my old office or anything like that. And that really it really has its impacts. So just to reiterate, kind of the future is in the hands of your generation, and it is so crucial that you address it immediately. And like the point, people working from home in the UK has more than doubled since the pandemic struck, but at what cost? And finally, there's been 2 years of coronavirus, and our lives have changed. But did we learn any lessons, and are those lessons going to stick, or are we going to have another pandemic in the future? But thank you very much for listening to me and for having me today.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Now I would like to hand upon to Shweta to continue further. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Now I request Bharti to come up with a presentation, and next Prince will come up with this presentation.
What, ma'am?
Bharti? Okay, in the meantime, they'll just, Sweston, I request you to come up with your speech. We can't hear you.
Sorry. Yes, Mom. I'm here. I had my mic off. So hello, and I hope you all had a great morning. So I'm Sweston Nikhil, the president of RBIA Interact Club in the school. So I would start by saying thank you for everyone who showed up today for the wonderful event. This morning we had great talks by our guests and Dr.P.G. Hela, the president of Reseda Group, and then Miss Sri Lalitha Pamidipati, the CEO of Reseda Group, and followed by Miss Rachel George, the international business head of the Reseda Group. So then now we're gonna have a presentation by our students, and once again thank you for their time, and well, thank you for everyone who has done the staff work and the speech by Gautami ma'am, and I'll end by saying let the change begin. So thank you.
Gitanjali, do you have the presentation? I have sent you a mail.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, 1 second. Let me just.
Ma'am, whose presentation was going to go first? Penalties or ours?
Okay, it was on Rotary Connect you have shared, is it, Shweta?
Yes.
Okay.
First team should be I'm sorry, it's Prince Modux probably, and his partner.
Yes.
That's a team one. Team two should be Bharati and the other two.
Give me a minute. I'm just opening.
Geeta, Gautami has one presentation with her.
Yeah, then was it the same one, Shweta?
Yes.
Yeah, then Gautami, you can share it. No problem.
That's Mukambika's and Bharati's.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
Okay,
I think
we'll
anyone
start.
can go. Yeah, start. Yeah.
So, hello everyone. I am Bharti and Mukambika.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mukambika.
And today we're going to be emphasizing on the side of mental health during COVID-19, the positive effects, the negative effects, and how people started coping with the pandemic and kind of getting used to the entire situation and isolation and just everything moving virtual. Yeah.
Can we move on to the next slide? Some of the main problems mental health wise faced during the pandemic include anxiety. Anxiety refers to the feeling of fear or dread. And this came mainly from the fear of being infected by the pandemic itself. The virus is quite deadly and everyone was scared. Everyone was very paranoid about it and everyone was taking precautions, and yet they were still very anxious about it. And some more of this anxiety comes from the steep fall in the economy due to the pandemic. Many people started losing jobs, income was low, and many people were suffering around. So all this negativity and this fear of losing their jobs led to increased anxiety during the pandemic.
Another mental health problem that most of us most probably have faced is stress and burnout. Everything moving virtual, work from home or education from home, it has completely twisted schedules of most people and of mainly students and working adults, causing them to just work incessantly and sometimes overwork themselves. And this causes a burnout and a challenge to manage their time and effectively complete tasks. leading to immense amount of stress with all their tasks or work just piling up and affecting their mental health ultimately. And even the frontline workers, they've been put on so much pressure. They work endlessly 24/7 to, decrease the pandemic and provide immediate life and health support to everyone who's been affected by COVID, or even other diseases which is not COVID but need immediate help. And this they're constantly working with so much stress and pressure of saving lives, which basically affects a lot of their mental health and causes a lot of burnout and stress ultimately. So, yeah.
The third problem here is isolation. I feel like when I'm talking in consideration with Bangalore, many of us are immigrants, so many of our relatives live somewhere else. So due to the pandemic, we're not traveling as much, and we're not able to see them in person. We're just seeing them on tiny screens, and you don't have that human touch. You don't have that affection, and you can't speak that properly even when you're on a video call. And this also, I think, goes with the healthcare workers, with them working endlessly in the hospitals. They have to be isolated because they can't infect their family if they got infected. So this isolation also leads to depression, also feeds into the anxiety.
Another and one of the most important things most people have, mental health issue most people have faced is grief and dealing with grief, especially loss of family or friends or neighbors or any even like personalities that inspire you or that you look up to, or any acquaintances. This loss itself is affects people's mental health so much and causes so much grief and and so much shock, a sudden shock of losing someone. And along with that, as Gayatri ma'am has talked before, not being able to grieve with people who mean so much to you, like their families or your friends. And this again brings us back to the topic of isolation, where someone feels secluded, that they have to grieve alone when they lose a person who's so close to them. And this again causes like issues such as depression, or even reduces hope for a person that things are not going to get better because of the situation or the circumstances that they're dealing with.
Another common problem that people have faced during the pandemic is insomnia. And this very much intertwines with stress and burnout. For us, from a student point of view, our screen time increased from, I think, approximately 2 hours per day to 6-7 hours due to school. And as a 10th grader, again, it's all e-textbooks. I have to stare at a screen and study for over 14 hours a day. All this and extra stress again with the jobs and losing loved ones. All this leads to reduced sleep. And the amount of blue light also affects our REM cycles, which led to a lot of insomnia and sleepless nights, which led to more fatigue and more anxiety.
We can go to the next slide. With all the negative effects, there were also a lot of positive effects that the pandemic has on people's mental health. Starting with importance of self-care and going for therapy. So as the pandemic went on, people have learned to adjust and find a way to prioritize themselves and build a schedule, because apparently it still hasn't ended. Like it's just going on, it's never ending. And they've started to learn from other people's experiences, attend webinars like this, and learn how to prioritize their mental health, their happiness along with other work. And whether it's in the form of maybe nutrition care or skin care or fitness, or maybe just peacefulness and mindfulness, or discovering their inner creativity or anything like that, they've started to learn how to prioritize also giving importance to their mental health and making sure they are doing fine before they continue with work and helping other people through their work.
We also got a great deal of privacy due to this pandemic. Again, touching on isolation and being away from people. This also had a positive effect because you really got time to yourself. We really spent time with ourselves this time, and we had also good one-to-one time with our loved ones as well, whom we were isolated with. And this led to greater bonds, and we really got an insight on who we really are and how we deal with certain situations. And this was a very positive effect for me, at least.
Next, increased clarity, where just having clarity about your life, making everything clear, apart from people being busy or committed or distracted and overwhelmed due to work. They've also learned, including us students, or even I've seen my parents themselves, they've also learned how to get clarity about what makes them happy, keeps them healthy, and they start reflecting on everything that's going on and make sure they process all the incidents or events that's happening and talk to people about it, make sure they have clarity about it before they move on with other work, and make sure that all the feelings and thoughts are not just accumulated together, overwhelming our minds. So many people have had increased clarity, along with privacy, just sitting and thinking about everything that's going on, the thoughts that's going through your head, and okay, what are we doing right now? What I hope from, where do I hope for myself to be in the next 3 days? And how can I work on a certain aspect of myself, such as maybe self-care or mental health, that can make things much better for me with everything moving virtual or an increase in workload. So many people have gotten an increased clarity about what's going on in their lives and how they want to proceed next.
One more thing was self-discovery, and I feel this intertwines a lot with the increased clarity as well. We found, like Bharati mentioned, we found things that made us happy, and for me, I got in touch with some of the hobbies that I let go as I started going into the higher grades. I started getting back into music, and I started painting more. I started journaling. And as I started to journal, I saw parts of myself that I couldn't observe when I was socializing and busy. And this really gave me a chance to really look at myself and see how far I've come. So self-discovery is a very major part of the pandemic for all of us, I think.
A boost of creativity. As Mukamika was talking about, we all, even myself, I've gotten to discover my inner self, my inner passions. I've started, I was really into designing before. I never got to really dive into that, but since the pandemic has begun, I've just started doing graphic designing and writing more, creative writing, like blogs or poems, and even discovering new talents or hobbies in myself that I never knew I had or never thought I was interested in. And this was also the case with multiple friends of mine or even my parents themselves. And it also helps people calm down or distract themselves from just working nonstop all day and focus on something that kind of gives them peace and makes them happy, and at the same time makes them feel productive and not that they're wasting time. So yeah, there's been a boost of creativity in all of us during the pandemic, and we've all explored our interests and hobbies and experimented with different fields and given each thing a try. So yeah, we can move on to the next slide. The first point is this slide. We basically wanted to, throw light on the fact that seeking for help is okay, and it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to talk to people and make sure you get clarity on what you're going through if you're not okay. And it's definitely not embarrassing in any ways to seek help, even if it's from your parents or friends or whoever you feel comfortable talking to, whoever you think gives you considerable advice, that really helps you when you feel like you're not doing fine and you need someone to talk to. That's totally fine. There's not everyone that judges you, and it's okay to talk to people or even seek for professional help or therapy that can help you, because ultimately it's yourself, it's your mental health, it's your well-being. It really doesn't matter, what people think you're going through, which can be true or not true, but ultimately it's about yourself, and that should be your first priority. So yeah, seek for help when you need it, whichever modes you're comfortable with, and that should be the first priority when it comes to mental health.
One more thing I'd like to add to the statement is in a country like India, most people that I have met, at least personally, therapy is quite looked down upon over here, and that's very saddening. But as far as we can go, I think it's like Bharti mentioned, it's best to seek help, talk to someone you trust. And I think something that we all tend to do, or maybe even other people tend to tell us, is saying other people have bigger problems. And especially in the pandemic, with everything burning down, we tend to kind of put ourselves down, saying, oh, someone else is suffering way more than I'm doing. Why should I be sad? I have a roof above my head. And we're all grateful for that, but it's quite crippling to do that to ourselves. I think we all have our own emotional capabilities and the way we handle things. And I think we have to address our feelings, because we feel things regardless of how someone else is feeling.
Yes, ma'am. We can move on to next time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Bharti.
Yeah, I think Mukambika would like to talk about the
Yes.
websites that can help people online.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Ma'am, could you just present the screen again if it's possible? Here we've listed some websites online where we could get therapy, free therapy and paid therapy alike. 7 Cups is a free online therapy platform where you can talk with volunteers. So there are volunteers who come and listen to you, and you can also pay to talk to professional helps. And this is mostly texting. It's not one-to-one video chatting. And I feel like most teenagers will be most comfortable with texting rather than talking to someone. And Doctor on Demand is another support, and this is through video chat, and it's a paid service again. And this is mostly good for depression. Doctor on Demand, it specializes in depression, and you could seek professionals wherever. And I Prevail is best for peer support, because many of us go through things and we feel alone most of the time. So through I Prevail, you can talk with people going through the same issues that you're going through. So you have peer support, so you could support each other. And this also provides professional help as well. And the last thing is those with a busy schedule. That's Bliss by the Center of Interactive Mental Health Solutions. This is a free course. It's not a video chat or texting. You don't really talk to anyone. It's a free 14-step course that you can take on your own time. And it doesn't offer professional help, but I feel like it gives you good insight on your mental health. Thank you. That's about it.
Thank you, Mukambika. Gautami, now I request you to present the Prince team presentation.
Sorry, just give me a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, you want me to share it? I have opened it.
Ma'am,
Yes, Prince.
can we start it?
Yes, Prince, you can start.
Okay. Pranjali can start it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Pranjali Bhattacharya, and today me and my friend Prince Modak are going to discuss about how to live in a healthy lifestyle.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Prince Modak. The purpose of this presentation is really how to protect ourselves and how to be very safe in this pandemic rather than getting the disease. And today we are going to discuss few points to let us know that how we can prevent ourselves to get the disease. So let's start.
Maintaining a healthy lifestyle. It is very important to maintain a healthy lifestyle in today's world rather than getting harmful diseases. To do this, we should add more fruits such as bananas, apples, watermelons, and vegetables such as carrots, etc. to our diet. They keep our immune system healthy. We can also prepare healthy snacks instead of preparing and eating junk food all the time. Parents should also teach their children the difference between everyday snacks and occasional snacks so that the children stay healthy. And we should reduce fat, salt, and sugar in our diet because too much of these things can harm us. When eating out, we should always choose baked or grilled food instead of fried and do the same at home.
Next slide, Gautami.
Exercises to stay fit and healthy. So we need to do at least 30 minutes of exercises daily to make ourselves healthy, and it's very important. Regular exercises helps us to prevent many problems and concerns, including stroke, metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and depression. As per regular exercise, we can do many types of exercises, like you should walk a lot, then you should you should do jumping, you should do swimming, or even you can do cycling. Regular yoga and asanas in the morning increase the lungs capacity and help a person to be tension free and refreshed from all the tiredness and stress. Yoga and asanas is also a great step to increase your heart level, and it helps quite a lot in making yourself free from disease. Cycling in the morning, skipping, and hanging is very helpful to keep your heart fit enough and stay young. If you are having any diabetic disease such as sugar or heart disease, you shouldn't do these diseases. We should drink at least 4 liters of water to keep ourselves hydrated and do these exercises to keep ourselves fit and healthy. Thank you. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Prince, and thank you, Pranjali. Now, I request if any other children would like to give a small speech or you like to share your experiences of 2 years of Corona, children can initiate and come forward and give a small speech.
Well,
Anybody would like to take it up?
what does a small speech kind of means? Like
No,
a
if they have
flashback of
no
3
time
years?
for PPT and they just want to directly talk about the topic, they're most
Okay,
welcome
yeah.
to speak.
Mm-hmm. Give
Yeah,
me a minute.
you can give your ideas of, like what the experience has been last 2 years, how the corona has affected your life. And of course, the PPT was very, very good. All the students who have prepared it was hats off to you. Thank you so much. With the short time you have prepared, and it's such nice details, and like put forward your thoughts, what it has been, what the corona has been or pandemic has affected, how it has affected you. Okay, but any of you want to say something or ask something, please come forward. Please unmute yourself and ask your questions to the speakers, or your thoughts you can always express here.
So I'll take a go then.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, coming back to a guy like me, I'm an introvert most of the time, but always good in uh, expressing. But it COVID hasn't really affected me much because I'm always in my space doing my stuff, and but I do know that it affected many other people around, and the thing I did is do my stuff, stay clean, and that's it. And that didn't harm me and didn't harm anyone around me, I guess. But that's pretty much me in 3 years. But I do know there's a lot sad stuff going on around, like lots of people losing life, and not just because of COVID and a lot of other stuff happening. It's just happening these 3 years. No wonder why, but it's kind of targeted, I guess. uh yeah, so well, I would like to just make a point that in order to make the change or whatever we are trying to do, like to prevent the spreading of COVID or anything or for the pandemic or everything, it starts by doing it by ourselves, like in order to for like if you say, even in order to make a change, if you don't start, like even if you want to, it goes with the mental health too. If your family has to stay happy, you need to stay happy first. The same way, if you're not happy, the family is not happy. You work hard to do anything, you bring money and you earn. If you're mentally not happy, then no one's happy. The same way, if you don't take the precautions yourself and you don't start by yourself, nobody around will do it. So if everyone individually educate them, by help, like these speeches and everything that can educate each other. But the thing that should apply it for ourselves, when everyone does it, it will work. Just like I remember a quote by Gautam Buddha, I guess. It's easy to slipper yourself than carpeting the whole world, which basically means that you you cannot put a carpet around the wall so that you just that your feet should be clean. You should probably do that on your own. So yeah, that's the only point I want to make. Yeah, thank you.
Any of the speaker want to comment on that?
No, Mukambika and Bharati.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Really like the way you have articulated your presentation and your point. Just wanted to ask you one question. Did you guys ever think of having peer groups amongst your own friends to share things when you're really going through, sort of tough times, or you're feeling low? I don't want to use the word depressed because that is too big a word to use. Yeah. Maybe when you're feeling low, because forget even pandemic. I think the way your educational system is, the way you're going through the competition right now in the world, you already have too much of stress. So did you ever think of forming peer groups instead of going to sites? I know there are lots of sites you already identified and where you can go, but I think peer groups will be your immediate I would say supporting factor, where you can just talk to your own friends. You can share with them. Maybe somebody else is also feeling the same, and that would comfort both of you and see like how you can move forward.
Ma'am, I feel like
we do that. Yeah, we do that. We have our own peer groups where we go and talk, we go and express. It need not be the same group where you talk everything, You can have different peer groups to discuss different things. One group might be just for academics, group may be more for your personal stuff. So, but always having friends as peer groups gives you a lot of strength, and you know that there is someone for you to talk to when you need to.
Yes.
Yes.
So maybe just think and see if you guys can form your own peer groups in the school or in your closer circles.
If I could interrupt, I really like that because there is a reason why everything has a cost. So basically, you do a service or anything, the money repays you to show the thing for the time you've given. It's the same way. That's the reason. It's just like a trade. You offer time in that, and it goes on like this. Just an exchange from the money you invest in something else. It's just a trade, and it completely makes sense. And I do agree with that.
So Nikhil, you should initiate it.
I mean, sure, why not?
But yes, ma'am, that's an amazing idea. We'll make sure to work on that. And I definitely think so too. Having people we already know to talk to is, should be given more priority than online websites. And I think we've emphasized more on talking to individuals, but individuals that we are close to or we trust or we know. But peer groups is actually an amazing idea.
It's not just about just being paid. It's just that everything needs funding, even for elections or even for a school or even for NGOs. Everything needs funding. It's just that the trade, it's not exactly money, it's just the term trade works in for everything. So everything requires funding, and of course when we have the factor of money or something, it's an exchange for time at least. So things should go really well if that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And Prince and Pranjali, very cute presentation. I'm happy you have moved away from unhealthy snacks to healthy snacks, and it should continue. And let your
I hope they really did, huh? I really hope they did. Guys, I hope you did whatever you presented.
Yeah, and I was very impressed by the when one of the slides it is written that like parents should encourage. So I was just thinking, what if the parents they love snacks?
Yes.
Again about that, we could go with the alternative
Welcome,
way.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Always, kind of healthy food keeps you up there and safe. Sometimes overdoing it can, kill you and lead you to a lot of health hazards. But again, if you consider the average life of human beings, it's just at least in India, it's 70, around there. So everyone around that age, if they live a normal natural life by even having oily food and living a healthy life also, but yeah, everything's balanced will work out if it's not overdone. It's just that stopping it immediately or getting it off there will not change the fact that it will make you live more or make you do more or something. Your work and everything remains the same. It's just that everything should be in a limit, not extreme.
Actually, your limit may increase. Like if you have too much junk food, you may get sugar diabetes, which will decrease your lifetime.
Yeah, that's what I meant. If you have it too much, I mean, it makes sense if you put 1 cup of spoon in or tablespoon into your coffee instead of like if you put 5 or 3 or 4 a whole packet, then it's pretty sure you're not gonna make it to 70 there.
But we just stop junk food suddenly, then next day we will have double of that junk food.
Stopping
so it's
isn't an
better
option
to
if you get
continue
yeah,
reduce
stopping.
it day by day.
Reducing is okay, but stopping is not an option. Like factories, they do pollution. The option isn't to stop them and destroy all the factories there, and there is nothing gonna happen anymore. Stopping is never an option. It's just
like if anyone just says us from today you're not gonna have any junk food,
I mean, if he's continuously doing it, then it's addiction. Then he has a problem.
I think it's important to keep a balanced diet. So obviously stay healthy where you can, but you are allowed a little treat every now and then.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Yeah, we have one of the ex-student of Redbridge. Avantika, you want to say something?
Okay, sure.
So I think I kind of agree with the points that they were told about, especially what Swetson told about stopping isn't actually the only solution. And if I have to look at it from a, how do you say, an economics perspective, I think yes, reducing is surely a good method, but stopping wouldn't only have an impact on us because our bodies are, after a point of time when you're having junk foods constantly, your body is also a little bit having a habit of it. I don't know if it's true, but then at least for me personally, I find it really hard to get rid of junk foods after a point of time. So stopping isn't actually the only method. You should reduce it, and also the impact it has on businesses.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the economic.
But like if a person starts eating too much junk food, then they will not have a choice afterwards to
Exactly.
not
The
put it
point
in a
I
plate.
and the others try to make is that if he does it more, and you're trying to say that we are trying to say that we should educate them to not do it more. Anything too much is not good, if you get it.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have too much, but then,
That's such a weird
from a
thing.
personal perspective, I like it. So
Basically, what you guys mean to say is treat yourself when you need to. The rest of the time, stay healthy.
yeah,
No. Have it when you
I think
want, but
treating
just don't do
yourself
it too
once in a
much.
while is quite good.
I agree with her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you have continuously junk food, you will be bored. So you need to have a quite good. It makes sense over there.
It's so nice to see you guys having a conversation with yourself on junk food, That's something which is so good to see.
I don't even know why we call it junk. It's so tasty and nice.
I
It's
know,
not-
right?
Exactly.
I mean, the
It's
point
tasty
is
and
it's
nice.
still a food, right? It's just that the added
It's
stuff
just
on there.
processed food.
I mean,
Also filled with
I
the
mean,
90%
it's hypocritic, and it's irony why we call it junk food. The word junk itself means waste, and food means something which you have. So junk food, having it sounds really wrong to me.
That's the part of the oxymoronic part of it which should hit you, saying
Yeah,
that you're calling it junk food. The reason why you shouldn't go towards it, but who am I to say? It's good for you that you're thinking about it, anyways.
I think it's a junk food because 90% of our body, the 90% of the food is only filled with carbs, and which is not even necessary for our body. And only like 5 or 4% is protein.
Did you just?
Okay, carbs are necessary.
That's
But not that much.
But
which
chemicals,
will lead to
see,
disease.
it has a lot of preservatives,
I
it has
mean,
chemicals.
if you want me to go with the scientific perspective, then it depends on the climate you live. The whole point was a man needs to survive, or the human beings have to survive with food and shelter. That's the two factors from the time mankind was there, I guess. So basically, it's just food and shelter. It depends on the climate. If the climate's different, you eat different. If you see in Europe, they have a lot of meat and protein stuff because it's the cold thing there. And even in Australia, it's something like that. And it depends. In India, we need more carbs. That's why we have more carbohydrate products. If you see it in athletes too, like in sprinters in India, or let's just say athletes in India, like sprinters, they don't run that quick because they have more carbs. And even if they change their diet, the body's prone for more carbs because that's how the Indian lifestyle and climate and all that stuff is.
Doesn't depend on how people like it. Also depend
No,
on
I
the
bet
wish
if
of
you
the people, right?
I bet if you live on a diet in another country's diet in India, you wouldn't survive long because your body wouldn't take that.
Isn't that what we are doing, Nikhil? We are eating more of the non-Indian food than Indian food, and the
I don't think we serve
food.
pizza every day. I don't think we serve pizza every day. Okay. Something like that. Not really. I personally, I have most of the time Indian foods and sometimes outside food. Like it's just that I'm used to it, and my body cannot take something outside.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point that you've made, because I don't know if it's the same in India, but in Europe and England, especially England, there's been a lot of weight gain over COVID, and that will be a contributing difference.
I get that. I get that. That's perfectly exactly what happened for me in 3 years. Me being an athlete to becoming a gym guy, kind of. That's kind of
Guys,
sad.
I don't think your parents are stopping you from taking junk food. Just have a balanced junk.
Not really. I don't. The last time I had junk was, I don't know. I don't know when. I just
I just had it
see.
yesterday.
For me, the point of food is just to eat when I need to eat. That's it. It doesn't really make sense for me to have all the time, if you get it.
When one of you brought up the question why, Sweston brought up the question why it is called junk food, I think, according to my opinion, every time the person who gave the name junk food to this kind of food, every time someone hears the name, they should feel like, oh, it's unhealthy. I'm not supposed to eat it. Let's go
No, I
away
don't
from
think
it.
so. I
But
exactly don't think
But
so.
the person who is
If you
addicted
analyze,
to junk food, he doesn't care about
no,
names.
if you analyze it, the person who came up with junk food should probably be a person who works with the food science part, the scientist over there. And I don't think he would do psychologically. He would not think psychologically to name the food junk food so that people prevent eating it. If
I
you
mean, either
just
way,
look at the process,
Oh, I would
just
like to
trust it.
disagree with you. When they give a name, they do it for a reason, you know.
Yeah, most of the
Even a
time.
scientist thinks about why they are naming a certain thing. There is a lot of thought process that goes into it.
That's true. That's true too.
Yeah.
And you have a scientist sitting here, and I'm very sure she is having a slight small laugh in, in her mind, saying that, no, I think a lot, that's Dr. Gayatri.
No, even the branding guys are here. They would also think the same, because when they brand something,
Yeah, that comes up, branding names again. Yeah.
yeah, the junk food is a
Yeah,
brand.
that's a business part, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
brand name.
I think we went off the track.
Yeah. Guys, yeah.
We didn't
I
go
think,
off. I just stood for junk foods.
right. At this juncture, because we are also live, I would request Gayatri or one of you to, explain the open house concept that we are planning to do.
Lalita, you want to go or you want me to give the brief?
Yeah, I think you can go ahead.
So basically what we are trying to do at Reseda is, as we discussed initially, as I mentioned initially, we are trying to see, can we really identify what are those things which are harmful, I would say, to the humans, and also if specifically from the perspective of chemicals, because that is what we deal with. Are we dealing with right chemicals or wrong chemicals, or are we dealing with an optimized level of chemicals? How do we understand that? So most of the time when we speak to our friends or people saying, why are you using this particular product, it is dangerous, the first question that comes to me is, how do I assess the product? How do I know I'm using a wrong product? From what is that information I need to look for to identify whether I'm using a right product or a wrong product? I think this is a question. It's an eternal question, and many of the consumers don't really understand what they're buying. Either they go by the brand, or they go by the feel, or they go by the the look, or they go by the word of their friend. It all happens that, but we never spend time to understand what are we really using, what is that we are exposing our body to, our environment to. So that is the consciousness we want to bring, because over last few years of research, what it has thrown is, the information we found is, because of lack of understanding of these chemicals, we have overused it. Best example is plastic. When plastic came, see, a scientist would have invented plastic with a certain application, with a certain specific areas it needs to go into. For example, plastic is thermally stable, plastic has, it's a strong, so there are certain parameters they would have identified for the particular product. But unfortunately, when we find something very interesting or something comes up new, we always tend to overuse it. I still remember as a kid, I bought many plastic jewelry. I used to have a lot of plastic rings and the jewelry, and they used to be very fascinating and beautiful, but that is not needed. So same is the case, plastic toys. Do we need plastic toys? We have so many indigenous toys which are safer, which can be used by the kids. The toys. So we have actually overused plastic, and it is everywhere now, and we don't know how to reduce it. we have got accustomed to it also so much. And we don't know how to reduce it. How much ever you want to reduce, you still find a plastic bottle or a plastic cover somewhere, right? So I think these are few things we really want to see where we can contribute to reducing it, and then moving into more sustainable technologies or alternatives. So one of the things in Reseda we did is we tried reducing the synthetic chemicals that has um, has been thrown into the nature a lot. Cosmetics of heavy usage of chemicals. Can give you a small example. The nail polish what you use has one chemical which when exposed to sun rays can cause cancer. So those are, and we tend to use it. Same thing with the lipsticks what we use. There are many carcinogenic things that we are taking in when we are using all these cosmetics. So can we are used to it. We don't have to abandon these products, but can we use alternates into those instead of using those harmful chemicals? If you go back to our samhitas, the old scriptures, they had beautiful cosmetic applications described there. They had every color of lipstick in it. They had every color of nail color in that. So can we bring back those details, bring them back, get a scientific validation done, so you know you are using a similar product or a same product. So that is what we at Reseda are trying to do. So if any of you students want to explore this, you are welcome to come. So we have decided to have an open house where you can walk in, you can understand. It's not about Reseda's products, it's about the concept is what we want to discuss. You can collaborate with us, or you can do an internship with us, but we want to bring those ideas of yours into the commercial world where we are replacing safer technologies and safer products into the market rather than the synthetic and hazardous. As well as we are, when you learn, you tell your peers or you tell your parents or you tell your friends, so that goes into the public. So you are educating few more people. So it doesn't stop with you, it is going to more people. So that is the chain we want to create through all of you. So that is the open house concept we have designed, and we are planning to launch it on 14th of November, being a Children's Day. So guys, any of you are interested, please feel free to reach out to us. Let Geeta or Shweta know, they'll come back to us and say, okay, these are the kids who wants to do it. And Nikhil, you said you have a point on plastic.
Yeah, I had two questions. I'll put forward both and then we can answer one by one, I guess. So my first question is for the plastic thing. So I do believe plastics were created for the same reason, because they were easy and the compounds really worked out, I guess, and they could make it in mass and could be a replacement for a lot of products. But the thing, I do agree that they're being overused. But the thing is, I feel the problem, more than being overused, I feel the problem is people not knowing how to dispose it and how to recycle, because plastic is one of the things which can be recycled for a long time, I guess, and people are not disposed. That should be the main thing. And getting off plastic and getting back to the other stuff which we had naturally would also cause more problems, because wood is not the thing, I would say, and all other stuff. But plastic is more reliable. But the more thing we should work on is disposal of the plastic and reusing of the plastic. If that's the first question. And the second, should I say the second question, or do you answer that?
Can we answer this and move on to the second one?
Okay, sure, ma'am.
Yeah, overuse definitely becomes an issue, Nikhil. See, when I meant said overuse in the applications where it need not be used, where you have better alternatives. I'm not saying when there is, we don't have to replace a laptop with where we need plastic.
Yeah, when there's a better option, we need to do that.
Yes. Overuse has to be reduced so that when we recycle or when we move to into the waste management of it, we have lesser bulk to deal with. Now we have piles of plastic to deal with. How do we handle that? It's everywhere.
Yeah.
The bottles need not be plastic. The bottles, there are other materials which can be used for plastic. You don't have to
carry bags.
Yes. You don't have, and bamboo is a very good material which also with handles temperatures and other
But the thing
properties.
is, it comes with time, right? Like bamboo, I think bamboo takes a lot of time to grow out and everything. But I think plastic is instant. But that's the whole thing, because of the time factor. I guess people are doing it.
No, it's not the question of just time factor. Yes, time
Mm-hmm.
factor matters in certain things. Time factor.
Mm-hmm.
We had glasses even before plastic was invented,
True.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why can't we continue with that? You don't
Yeah.
need a replacement for it. But
Carry bags.
Sorry?
Carry bags. You can always take a bag from home, what we use it to do.
Yeah.
We always used to carry a cloth bag whenever we went shopping. We never asked the shopkeeper to give us a carry bag. Why?
Mm-hmm.
We don't need it there. And the classic example I gave, why do I need to wear plastic jewelry when I have gold, silver, and other jewelry?
I guess, yeah, that's perfect, Mom. I guess about that jewelry thing, I just want to say that I guess it was made an alternative because the other jewelries are pretty costly for that, and common men usually don't get to wear
cheaper
it.
alternatives to nickel. It's not that only gold and silver, there are many. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically. But when you do it in bulk, I do get the concept of plastic, and I'm against it, and like against it in a way that the way you should control and dispose and reuse it and make a better thing rather than completely getting it for, because I just feel that I'll follow on with this in the next question. And this is just a curious question, because we were talking about going back to the old things which we had in our scriptures and everything, and coming back to now and using the products now and replacing with them. But it's just a question that why we going back, because I think we move forward so that we develop and grow. That's the main reason we went forward. Hopping back would not be.
We moved forward in a very negative way. So we develop products only from the scriptures, and all of them have a validation that is done as per the present requirement.
Yeah, that's perfect.
There is people are adapting to it. People are adapting to it. What we are saying is we are not going back. We are going back to our good habits. We are going back to our positive things. See, we have moved forward, actually trying to overgrow the nature. Nature has taught us many things which were kept aside, and we started teaching nature what to do, which doesn't work because we are minuscule part of the nature. Nature has to drive us. We can't drive nature. What we are trying to say, our scriptures give us information where nature drives us. We don't drive nature there. So that is what we are trying to bring back. We are not saying we are going back to the old ways. We are going back to good olden days.
Yeah, the same fact. Going back to old days, I did say that we move forward in the sense, like, of course, let's just say a phone. First we had the big gramophone, then came the telephones, and then the phones. It's the same roots, but just improving in a better format. The same thing. From the old ancient days till now, it's the same roots, but just that the things have got different, I feel.
Do you know the impact the latest phones have than the gramophone of olden days? Do you know the impact it has on the birds, it has on the environment?
Yeah, it does have a lot of effects. The radiations are really bad.
It's negative, right?
I mean, it is, of course. In the time, I mean, yeah, it is.
Can I add a point here, Nikhil?
Yeah, go on, Mom.
All this comes back to one point called responsible consumerism.
Yeah.
How much is enough for you? You need a phone, you have a phone. How often do you want to change a phone? How often do you change a phone? You see young people or even people with lots of money changing phones and throwing the disposable. How many phones are you responsibly using?
That makes sense.
Yes, jewelry is costly. How much fashion do you want to have to feel good? How much damage are you willing to make to the nature to look good, to look fashionable? So it all goes back to what is the right balance. Like the way you were speaking about junk food, how much is good enough?
Exactly.
How much is the right amount? Where draw the line? Going back, another point which I want to say, I mean, this is a very basic example, but I still would want to quote, if you have 100 trees, they've grown so big, they have given a lot of produce and you have benefited from them. Now they're invested with a bug or a mite. What do? You chop the branches, you keep the roots. You let the tree regrow. There are
Yeah.
times when you have to chop the new thing if it's not serving the current purpose. It would have served the purpose, but
Mm-hmm.
it's no longer serving. So there are times when you have to go back to your roots because they have been established for a reason. They have been called wisdom for a reason. The wisdom of today lies in going back and picking the right thing from the past. That's the whole point I think Dr. Gayatri was trying to tell us.
Yeah.
That's input to this discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine. I was just curious because even the chemically speaking, the chemicals used back in the days and now. The other thing is right now I'm again not a chemistry student, but I'm just saying the chemicals used now is nothing but the saturated form of those chemicals which are there and could be a possible combination of compounds and all that stuff like that, right? It's still the same. The past thing, I guess, the past thing should be possibly the whole natural thing. I don't know. Is it made by leaves being crushed or something like that, or flowers being crushed? And I could possibly say that's the whole root like that. And now we are example. Let's say. Maza, the drink. I guess it's always written in the bottle. It's possibly the pulp and the thing they use, the chemical. It's again originated from the actual mango itself, but it's possibly made because they could make in bulk. And again, the population has changed from that to now. I guess that's the also main reason. I guess like people need more nowadays. That's weird, but yeah,
Sorry if I'm interrupting.
that's fine, ma'am.
Maza, mango pulp is not a problem. The
Mm-hmm.
preservative we use, the chemical we use to to see that the mango pulp doesn't deteriorate over time
Mm-hmm.
is the problem. When you
But
have a chance to have a fresh mango juice, why do you want to have a preserved mango juice?
but
One,
is
the preserved mango juice would have lost its nutrients over a time period. Also, you are adding an extra chemical which is not good for you. See,
but then no one would be served, right, ma'am? If I could just put like, if you look onto the natural thing, or if you look onto that stuff, then not everyone would be fed because if you get it, like
why not? Why not? Why not everybody can be fed? You know
because
how
the
many
population, I
agricultural
guess.
lands are barren? You know how many agricultural lands are
Yeah,
barren because everybody moved into IT.
yeah.
So that, I think it goes even back to us choosing there was a reason why people were asked to take their, what do you say, the home career, or there is a reason agriculturist wanted his son to be an agriculturist because that is what helps the economy to grow. We moved away from that balanced economy system as well. We all
Yeah.
rushed into IT. We all rushed into biotechnology, and everybody abandoned agriculture, where India is a strong agricultural country.
No, I would say India lost focus on them because
So
India
it's
is majorly 60%
a problem.
agriculture still. The economy is based on that.
Cumulative problem. It's a cumulative issue which needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
It is not one problem, and we have multiplied the problems. It's
Yeah,
become
when we say Maza, I'm coming back to Maza. It's not only the chemicals, I mean preservatives. You're actually harming more to the earth by throwing those Tetra packs.
Yeah, that it's fine until it's paper, I guess, but it
They're
does.
not paper. They're not paper.
Yeah, yeah, it does affect. It's not degradable. Again, the recycle
Yeah.
system. Again, I do see in other countries we have the rules of bins. Like I guess Mrs. Rachel George would know that you got bins which are like 4 or 5 bins with different purpose and everything, but we don't have them in here. I guess initiative of those
We have a perfect waste management system.
we do, but
We segregate waste very neatly. No, I don't agree to that, Nikhil. We have an excellent segregation system. We segregate food, we segregate plastic. You know, in our apartment, if I put food in plastics and I throw it outside, the housekeeping will not pick it up and they leave it back in my.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's apartment again. It's a community of people. That's why I guess.
No, it's growing.
It's
growing,
getting better.
lot
Yeah.
of people adhering to it, and we have separate bins outside where it is thrown in separate bins. Nikhil, we are a mixture of rural and urban community, right? So there is a lot of education that needs to go, and that is where
Agreed.
people like you have to take action and go and talk to you have rural kids, go and talk to them, let them know this is what needs to be done. I think that education has to come from people who believe in this.
Mm-hmm.
No, and my thought is that we in India, we are one of the very few countries who recycle everything,
That's
right?
pretty true.
Yeah. Like take for instance, newspaper, the milk sachet, it all goes to that ratiwala, right?
Mm-hmm. Only, but the thing is,
Maybe
uh,
we have not
yeah,
systemized it.
yeah,
Maybe
we have
we have
not
not
systemized it, and
yeah.
probably the main thing we have not done is we are using what we need. So let's just say that again, when you addressed that we recycled it, but when we recycle it, it has a gain out of it. That's why we're using it, so that it helps us with something. But the things which doesn't help us, let's say, I don't know, if plastic people don't want to use, you just throw it off. If it does, it's just we're not. It's just like the food chain, I guess. It's all a circle, but the
No,
circle's not happening with plastics, I guess.
yeah, we
I
need a
think
lot
that
of
is
policy
how much
change.
of us educate the other person. When we
Hmm.
see that, if I see somebody throwing a plastic bag or something, do I really go and educate the person saying this is not good? Are we insisting the person to do it right? Are we
Correct.
taking that responsibility because we know it? Maybe the other person
Mm.
doesn't know it. Are we taking the
Yeah,
responsibility?
that's
I think that
the
action
whole point of
right
education.
now, then we discuss more and more on this. I think we need to get into action. At least let's start
True.
doing the small things. When we see somebody doing it, educate them. It can be a small kid. The kid may not know. A 4-year kid would have thrown it. He may not know. He or she may not know. Go and tell them. Make them understand. I'm sure the kids would quickly pick up things. Right?
Hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think this action is, yeah, Rachel, you're saying something.
In India, do you have kind of penalties for littering or for not recycling? So for example, if I were walking about in my city and I was drinking let's say a fizzy drink in a tin can, if I just put that on the floor and if I didn't go and recycle it, I would, and someone's like a police officer or something like that saw it, I would immediately get fixed with a minimum of £50 fine. And it's actually, I know it sounds quite harsh, but that's a really good incentive as well to get people, because there's actually a punishment so do you have anything like that at all?
Yeah, but definitely for waste management, as I said, if the apartment doesn't segregate the waste in a right way and it is given to, it's called in Bangalore, it's BBMP, the municipality, they don't pick it up. They leave it there. So you'll be piled up with the waste. You don't know how. So the apartment management insist on the,
Isn't that a drawback, Mom? But
Sorry?
isn't that a drawback because we, as a good citizen, as a responsible citizen, we are taking the responsibility rather than the
Yeah.
elected leaders to do it. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's what is the awareness we need to create. That's what the awareness we need. Yes, as an individual, as a citizen of India, we are responsible for it. But
Mm-hmm.
let's introspect. How much
Mm-hmm.
we ourselves really take it seriously. For a small thing, there is a rule on the road that you should not pass through a certain area. How many of us knowingly pass through that area? Knowingly break the rule. So I think yes, definitely it is needed for us to realize that. But you saw somebody passing through that area, would you stop him?
I mean, there should be a reason why it should be a threat going there. So
no, need not. Many times it need not be a threat. They just want to not take an easier route. But did you stop them?
oh, are you talking like that, like a illegal route or something? I was confused because I didn't know what do you mean by
It's a legal route. Suppose it's a no entry area and I entered with my vehicle.
Mm-hmm. We would probably like most of them. We can say yeah. Possibly if someone come across, we can tell them not to go, but I cannot pull off his bike or take off his petrol off or something.
Why
I cannot
not?
do that.
Why not? Why not?
It again goes against humanity and the right right?
No, that is
I'm
not humanity. That
but
is
I'm
not
violating
humanity.
his right. I'm not talking about humanity. I'm talking about the human rights. Sorry, but that would violate his rights. I cannot touch the other person, if you get it. Like, I cannot
Okay,
do that. That's too
this,
far. I
yeah,
mean, if he's falling in his pit, he should fall. Then, I mean, if he falls in, then we should fine him for whatever he did. That's it.
right,
Nikhil,
right.
I do that. I do that. I think Lalitha is there to
Um,
coach on that. If somebody goes in a wrong direction, I definitely give them my mind.
yeah, that's a good thing. Giving their, we could tell them verbally, but no touching. That's it. I wouldn't go till there.
Yeah, this healthy discussion will go on, I'm sure. I would like, yeah, wonderful having you all. I would request Subir to like share any thoughts if he has.
So this is a very beautiful conversation here. I think, as ma'am said, that it's nice that even the students are speaking about junk and people are introspecting, and I think even the parents are introspecting, right? Okay, so I think it's a very wonderful discussion, and this thread of conversations will continue in the weeks and months to continue ahead. I believe that maybe I think you would want to bring this conversation to a close today, because I think everyone would have their meetings and discussion and classes also planned in the day. So I end my thoughts here for the moment.
Yes. Thank you, Subir. Now I request Bharti to say a vote of thanks.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. I'd like to thank the entire Reseda group and Gayatri ma'am and Sri Lalitha ma'am and um, Gautami ma'am and of course Rachel ma'am for being here and giving us such insightful information that's really useful, and it was super educative. So thank you so much for willing to partner with us, Rotary E-Connect and Interact Club of Redbridge to make this happen at such a short notice. And all of our members, I'm sure they thoroughly enjoyed it, and the discussions at the end they were really fun and they were super educative and informative. And many of us weren't aware of a lot of things that were talked about today, especially some of the points, and we've gotten to learn so much information and gain so much knowledge on how to be healthy, how to be safe during COVID, about mental health, about just being hygienic in general, and of course the use of plastic and junk food and a lot of topics. And I'm sure many such events will be happening in the very near future, and we will have a lot of such amazing discussions as well. And I'd like to also thank all of our members for joining in and contributing your ideas, your thoughts, and even listening and signing up. I mean, you signing up means a lot to us because you're willing to learn and make a change through the knowledge. It's just so inspiring, and this will move on to other members, your classmates, your friends. So this is the start of a great change. So yes, thank you so much everyone for joining us, and we will end this webinar right now. Amazing discussions took place, and I look forward to more such events very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Bharti, and thanks so much to Shweta. Actually, she's the one who is, the back end coordinating everything. Thank you. Special thanks to Shweta for driving this club. Yes, and thank you, Gayatri. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Gautami, Lalita, and hope our open house discussion will go on, and probably few of the kids definitely make it on the children's day.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
I'll add a line here. See, I do attend so many meetings and they are quite stressful, but today's informal way of this communication was so pleasant. I felt that I'm sitting in a room, all sitting around, it looked to be, I just realized 2 hours have passed, but it was such a, free flowing conversation. I wish, we take up more topics and
Yeah.
have these conversations come in.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
The difference between being amongst adults and being with kids.
True. Very true. Very true. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye, and have a nice day, all of you. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye,
Bye,
ma'am.
ma'am. Have a
Have
nice
a
day.
wonderful day, ma'am.
You too. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.